golden wines of Bordeaux have come to the golden state of California. I am delighted to be joined by Aline Baly, the face behind the first growth Château Coutet. First, I want to start off talking a little bit about the history of your chateau.
Château Coutet is a first classified growth of 1855, but our story actually starts all the way back to 1643. It was a military fortress. And the first evidence that we have of Château Coutet being a wine-producing estate is 1643. Since that period, there's been 4 families that have managed the estate. Most recently, my grandfather bought the estate in the late 70s, and today my uncle and I co-manage the estate. So this is Château Coutet 2010. The 2010 vintage was a beautiful vintage where we had very ripe fruit, which is a very important process to make a very, very good Sauternes. And then we had the attack of the botrytis, which took place on very pure, very healthy fruit. So we were able to reach these beautiful concentration of sugars, but also keep intact all these beautiful aromas. So the botrytis, or what we call the noble rot, with the cépage, the varieties that we use, we have these beautiful aromas of very fresh fruit, very tropical fruit. When you drink today Château Coutet 2010, you're going to get a lot of pineapple, but you have this spiciness to it. And the spiciness, that's the botrytis, that's the noble rot's contribution to making our wines.
And a lot of people think Sauternes, they think dessert wine, they think saving the best for last, but you're really rethinking the way people should be thinking about dessert wines, right? You're thinking maybe first course them.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of traditions in Sauternes and Barsac, but there's absolutely no rules. Our wines in France are paired with foie gras, with goose liver, with roasted chicken. That's a tradition from our village. We also drink these as apéritif to get the dinner started. These wines have taken their place in the dessert category. However, I would love for everyone to try these wines with lobster, because I think lobster, there's a bit of sweetness to the meat that complement beautifully these wines. There's also an element of texture that's absolutely gorgeous. And then after lobster, I would love everyone to try these with poultry, turkey especially. Turkey, you've got this nice, rough, drier meat, so a nice contrast to the suaviness to these wines. So beautiful, beautiful pairings. Like I said, there's lots of traditions, but there are no rules, and everybody likes different things, so they should go enjoy, be adventurous in the kitchen with these wines.
You guys are launching a new dry white wine. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. We decided to embark on the journey of making a dry white from our terroir at Coutet. So we ended up in 2010 with the first vintage of Opalie, the Château Coutet, which is a 50% Sémillon, 50% Sauvignon Blanc. It's got the freshness that we know that is typical of Coutet, but it just happens to be dry.
People are really into different white wines from Bordeaux.
The Bordeaux whites are these beautiful wines that people are starting to discover. Bordeaux is not just one color. We've got red, we've got white, we've got gold.
Say I've got some folks over at the house. They are millennials, maybe they're older, maybe they're Gen X like me, but they're terrified of trying a Sauternes. What advice would you give, or what would you tell them about Sauternes?
First of all, wine is about adventure. It's about trying new things. But if you're having a hard time making that step into the gold wines, into the sweet wines of Bordeaux, get yourself a really beautiful cheese plate with all these different cheeses. You can have the blue cheese, the hard cheeses, the creamy cheeses. Get yourself a bottle of, hopefully, Château Coutet, and a couple different types of breads, maybe some crackers, some artisanal bread. Try toasting, not toasting, so you've got a bit of the texture that comes from the breads, and try all those different cheeses with some Sauternes. Your friends will be so impressed that you went down that direction and were that adventurous. I guarantee you, there's not one wine out there will go with as many cheeses as is Sauternes, specifically Château Coutet, with our freshness, our acidity, the volume that you get from the sweetness. You're going to be blown away, and you'll be convinced for the rest of your life that these wines should be at every meal at your table.
Sold! There are lots of traditions, but there are no rules in Sauternes. Cheers!